All right, let's get right into it. We're going to be digging into a really big idea today, this huge shift in how we establish trust. And it's all based on Tran's book, From Authority to Impact. The core argument is pretty mind-blowing. AI is completely rewriting the rules for how we measure a person's value, their actual contribution to the world.
So let me just start it with this question to get you thinking. What if your resume wasn't some static Word doc you dust off every couple of years? What if instead it was a live, dynamic feed of everything you've actually done, everything you've built, the real impact you've had? That's the rabbit hole we're going down today.
To really get where we're going, though, we've got to look back at where we came from. For hundreds of years, our entire civilization has been built around this idea of, well, permission, a system of trust that's all based on authority. And here's the thing you have to understand. This system wasn't some kind of mistake. It was actually a brilliant solution. You know, back in a world where information was hard to come by and trying to verify if someone actually knew their stuff was super expensive and difficult, society needed a shortcut. We needed a way to trust strangers.
And that's where credentials came into play. The book has this great way of framing it. Credentials weren't just symbols, they were a piece of trust technology. A diploma, a license, that was basically a tool that shouted, hey, this person has been checked out by an institution you trust. They're good to go. It reduced uncertainty.
So this created a really clear one-way street. First, you had to get authorized. You earned the degree, you got the certificate, and only then could you really start doing the work. The authorization always had to come before the action.
But, and you've probably felt this, that old model is starting to crack. It's starting to break down. We've hit this point where the world is just moving so darn fast that our old ways of building a reputation simply can't keep up anymore. And the main catalyst, the thing that's really pouring gasoline on this fire, you guessed it, AI. Artificial intelligence isn't just another new gadget. It's a fundamental shift that's pushing this breakdown into overdrive. I love this phrase from the book. It calls AI the machine that reads everything. And that's exactly what it is. For the first time in human history, we have a technology that can sift through and make sense of human knowledge and behavior on a planetary scale. It can see patterns and connect dots that no single person or institution ever could. And this is the real game changer. We are moving from a world of what you could call episodic verification. You know, that one-time final exam, that diploma you got years ago, to an era of continuous verification. A world where your credibility is constantly being updated in real time based on actual, measurable outcomes.
This quote from the book just hits the nail on the head. Look, it's not that degrees and job titles are suddenly worthless. That's not it. The real issue is that the stable world they were designed for, well, it's gone. Expertise has a shelf life now, and things are changing faster than any credential can possibly keep up with.
So as this old system crumbles, something really fascinating starts to happen. We're seeing a total reversal of cause and effect. In this new world, your actions, the work you actually do, the contributions you make, that becomes the credential.
And this right here is probably the most important sentence in the whole book. It used to be that you needed to get authority before you could prove what you could do. Now, you provide the proof of your skills first, and that proof is what earns you the authority. It's a total flip.
I mean, just look at how this flips the old model completely on its head. Now, the first step is to take action. You create something, you build a project, you solve a problem out in the open. And the measurable impact of that work, that is what becomes your calling card, your main credential.
So what's the bottom line for you and me? It means our professional identity stops being a historical document, a summary of our past. Instead, it becomes this living, breathing portfolio of what we're contributing, and it evolves with every single thing we do. Okay, so if impact is the new game, how do we keep score, right? We need to understand the mechanics of this new world. If we're going to value impact, we need a way to measure it, which leads to whole new forms of capital. And the book gives this a name, impact credit. Think of it almost like a new kind of currency. It's a measurable, verifiable record of the value you create for other people. Every single time you help a team succeed or solve a tricky problem, you're basically earning this credit. It adds up.
It's actually a pretty simple analogy. We all get financial credit, right? It measures how reliable you are at paying back money. Well, impact credit does something similar, but it measures how reliable you are at creating value. One is about avoiding risk, The other is all about creating value.
And the technology that makes all this possible is what the book calls digital public credentials. Now, don't think of a PDF or a LinkedIn profile. These are live systems. They are designed to constantly update your credibility, your impact credit, based on the outcomes people can actually see.
Okay, so what? What does this actually mean for all of us, for society? Well, a shift this big creates a completely different kind of hierarchy. It changes everything about how we think about status, our careers, and where opportunities come from.
And the contrast is pretty stark. The old hierarchy was all top-down. It was based on your title, where you went to school, who you worked for. The new hierarchy, it's bottom-up. It's built on your observable impact, on how reliable you are within your network. Your influence isn't assigned to you anymore. It's something that emerges from your participation.
So let's just boil this all down into a few key takeaways. First, credibility is no longer a one-and-done thing. It's continuous and it's observable. Second, your ability to adapt and learn new things becomes just as critical as being a deep expert in one thing. Third, influence isn't handed to you. It bubbles up from what you do. And finally, and this is a big one, opportunity will flow to those who have a verifiable track record of making things happen.
If you walk away with just one thought, let it be this one. For centuries, our world was built on getting permission before you could act. We are now moving, and moving fast, toward a world that is organized around proof. Proof of your actions, and more importantly, proof of their results.
And that really just leaves us with one last question to chew on. In a world where your contributions are transparent, where your impact is visible and measurable by pretty much anyone, what kind of proof are you going to create? What impact will you make?